Hey there and welcome to Matt's Garage. Well, today we're going to be servicing both the differentials and the transfer case on this 2006 ML350. So I'm going to show you all the tools and stuff that you need to do this job first, and then I'll walk you through it step by step. So firstly, you might notice that my vehicle has some blocks in front of the wheels. I'm actually going to drive it up onto those just to raise it up enough that I can crawl under it easily but still have the vehicle perfectly level. When you go to fill it back up, you want it on perfectly level ground. You'll notice I do have a jack here though, because when I'm draining it out, I'm actually going to jack up the front of the vehicle slightly, because that'll angle the drain in the right way that it'll really drain the sediment off the bottom of each component there. So the first step actually is to make sure you drive your vehicle for about 10 minutes and just make sure all that oil's up to temperature. So actually I'm going to go take it for a little drive down the highway here, just because I spent some time setting all this up and that oil's had a chance to cool down. It's not very hot today. So here are the lubricants I have chosen for this job today. This is what I'm going to be using in the differentials, this royal purple, which is supposed to replace just about any manufacturer's lubricant for that. So I've read up on it quite heavily and it should work just fine, but I would recommend still using the correct Mercedes. I believe it's a 75-85 gear lube. You're always safest to stick with exactly what the manufacturer recommends, but this is what I'm doing, so do as I say and not as I do. This is what I'm going to use in the transfer case, and this is in fact a Mercedes oil. That's the manufacturer for Mercedes for their lubricants. And this is the exact spec that's called for. Actually, this is an upgraded spec that covers the older spec that, if you look it up, it recommends an older lubricant that's not even available anymore because this part number replaces it. So I've looked into all this. If you use that part number, you're safe. That is what Mercedes recommends. And then I just want to be able to drain everything at once so that I can really let it drip out. So I have 3 separate drain pans. It's nice if they're clean so that you can tell if you have a significant amount of metal shavings or anything in there. It's normal to have a few flakes in there just because there's no filter or anything in there. So literally changing the oil is the only thing that filters it. And Mercedes actually says it's good for a lifetime, but a lot of people do change the oil, and as long as you don't get contaminants in it while you're changing it, it's better to change it. That is another thing. I've gone ahead, it probably doesn't look like it, but I have washed my vehicle, particularly underneath. I washed it really good so that there wouldn't be a bunch of grit that would get into things as I'm working. Now you're going to need an 8mm Allen key to get the plugs out, and Mercedes does recommend replacing the drain and fill plugs, which is rather cheap to do, but I've opted not to do it. So I'll leave that up to you, but Mercedes does recommend doing it. So I'm just going to get it up on the blocks here and we'll get started. Whenever you jack up a vehicle, you want to rock it like that to make sure it's steady. I didn't actually take the weight off the wheels. It's not necessary. I just want the nose up a little bit to make sure that oil's all running out nicely. Okay, you can see I got some cardboard down to make sure we don't spill any oil on the ground since we're working outside here. We're just going to get under there and pop the first drain plug out on the rear differential here. Okay guys, coming under from the back bumper. I'll just lead you in for anyone who doesn't know cars that well. This is a perfect do-it-yourself job to get started with. So here's your differential, this vented aluminum thing here between the exhaust and your drain plugs. Your drain plug is right there and your fill plug is right above it there. So you should take the fill plug out first to make sure you can get it out, and also so it relieves the air. Well, there's a vent on this anyways, but it will help the oil drain quicker is all. So that's your fill plug right there, drain plug right there. They're both 8mm, which is equivalent to 5/16. So either one will work to get this apart. Now I'm just going to wipe off around here really good to make sure none of this grit is getting inside, because as I said, there's no filter in here, so whatever dirt you put in there stays in there, and it will act like grinding compound and wear out your differential prematurely. It's also a good time to check for leaks at your axle seals right up here where your axles go in, and then your pinion seal right there where the drive shaft goes in. You can see mine's nice and dry, so all we have to do is a service here, but if it was leaking bad, you know, a little weepage is normal, but if it's leaking bad, you want to deal with that, because if this runs low on fluid, it's just going to burn out the bearings. Okay, so just wiping it all off really good here. Just a dry wipe to get that grit off of there. And then what you want to do is make sure you get this seated in there all the way. That's when most people strip them, it's because they're not in all the way. Do be careful, this could be hot, this exhaust, since you just ran your vehicle hopefully to warm up the oil in the differential. There, you can see it slid in there. It's a tight fit, but this works with no extension behind the exhaust. I'm just going to hold in on it while I push down. I'm going to have to get some extra leverage on here. I want to be able to hold in on there, so I'm just going to use this wrench on here for extra leverage. And there, it broke loose. When you're in a situation like that, I find it's best to get more leverage, and then you can do it in a controlled manner. We'll just use the socket up there to spin it loose with our hands now. Okay, I got that loosened up nice up there, and I'm not going to take it right out because it's just an opportunity for dirt to go in there, really. It is loose. We know we can get it out. Okay, this one you really can't use the socket. If that's all you had, you can put vice grips on the socket. Done that before, but we've got the regular Allen key here, which will fit in there just fine. Again, make sure you get it all the way in. These might have dirt in them. You might have to scrape them out with something. And then we're just going to go straight ahead and put some leverage on it. There we go. Now this vehicle does have about 110,000 miles on it. It's got 175,000 kilometers, so that's about 110,000 miles. You can see that is really clean. That's what you want to see. That's best case scenario there for sure. So as I said, I've got 2 other drain pans, so I'm just gonna let this sit here and drip out. That's the best way to get every speck of oil out of there. You can see Mercedes uses an O-ring to seal their drain plug, and that's probably why they want you to replace it, just because it has that O-ring on there, which might be compressed and not seal as good. Okay, so here we are under the middle of the vehicle. This is your transfer case. This is what transfers power both to the back and front of the vehicle. And this is the fill plug. This is the drain plug. Again, 8mm or 5/16 will work. And so we're going to again break this one loose first, and then this one. So this is right under the center of your vehicle, right between the front and the back wheels, right in the middle. And couldn't be simpler, and I've heard of people being charged nearly $500 to have this serviced at a dealer. So for sure, you want to be doing this stuff at home. This is simple, easy owner type maintenance that you can do yourselves. That's why I'm making these videos, to help you guys out, make sure you have the knowledge you need to do this job safely on your own vehicle. So again, we're going to just wipe off really good. You want to again check for leaks everywhere. Make sure, you know, if it's leaking bad, you might want to get that attended to so you don't run out. But again, everything's nice and dry here and in good shape, so we're going to go ahead and get this loose up here, just like that, and we'll spin it almost out, and you can see it must be right full, so we'll get our drain pan under there. That's a good sign. Of course, we have our vehicle leaned back a little, so Whoa, that was more than a little full. Made a bit of a mess, guys. Okay guys, well here we are at the front of the vehicle. We're just ending up a brief rain shower here, which made my job less pleasant, but we're just going to head under the front here and show you where these final two drain plugs are. Okay, this is your front differential here, and you can see the drain plug right there, and just right up here is the fill plug right there. So I'll set you up and show you yet again the process. I do think that transfer case was overfilled by somebody, and that's why it sprayed out on me. There's no way it should come out under pressure like that. But anyways, we'll make sure we get it filled back up to the correct level when we do it here. So I've got my third drain pan, which you can make these at home out of an old oil jug, no problem. Okay, so we're just gonna wipe off here real good. You can see there's a little grease and grime on this one. Then again, you want to try and use both hands, get that seated in there. That one wasn't so tight. I think these have been serviced before, so which is good. That one has a little dirt in it, but we got her worked in there. There we go. That's how they should come out. The rear ones were clearly over tightened. Okay, what I like to do, you can see that one doesn't look as good, so I'm going to run it over my gloves like this, and then I can kind of see the condition of it. And honestly, it's bad, guys. I think my front differential needs replacement. It's really bad. Oh no. Oh no. That is just sludge. I had a vibration in my front end that I thought was the CV axles, and unfortunately it's not. Oh no, this is my daily driver, guys. Doesn't look like I'm going to be driving too far here. This is really bad, guys. Okay guys, I think maybe you can get a look at it on my glove here, the flakes of metal, and it's just a silvery sludge in there. So that is what you see when your front differential's going out, unfortunately. Okay guys, as you can see, I've let it drip all out, and so now I'm just gonna clean off the drain plug really good, put it back in. Again, Mercedes recommends that you replace these. I just want to wipe off around there to make sure that O-ring seals good. And then if you're not using a torque wrench, don't go crazy. Pretend you're tightening a spark plug or something. Just like that's good. Then wipe it off so you know later if it's leaking. Okay, so I'm going to go do that on the other two. Here we are at the transfer case, so same thing, wipe it off good. Wipe the plug off good. This one actually has a copper washer on it, so it would be a good idea to at least replace the washer. Okay, I'm back at the rear here, and actually the angle that I put it on with the jack there is probably making this one collect a little oil back here. That's why it's still dripping a bit. So I'm going to take the jack out now, and that'll be level then. Everything will be level then and ready to put the new fluids in. Okay guys, I've got all the drain plugs tight now, so I just have to take out the fill plugs as I go, and then we're just going to cut the tip off this oil and just get it up there and squirt it in. And you probably won't be able to see much of that process. And you just squirt it in until it comes back out. That's the idea of having the vehicle on level ground. And that's why you want to leave your drain pans underneath too, to collect any drips. So at every stage you want to do your best to keep contaminants out. So you see I have my thumb over that cut off end, and I'm going to get it lined up in here and ready to squirt before I take my thumb off and put it in. That way there's nothing getting in it. Okay guys, I'm not sure it's quite full. It is running back out, but you got to be careful because sometimes this is quite a thick housing here, and you just squirt it in the opening there, and it runs back out. So I'm going to squirt a bit more in there from a full jug just to make sure. There we go, guys. It's definitely full now, so we'll put the fill plug back in here and then wipe everything off really good. Okay, so that's how you do it. This differential here is serviced now. So here we are at the rear differential. Just get that fill plug right out of there. We'll just get the fresh bottle going here, make it easier. Okay, that one's definitely right full. Okay, well, I have this attachment here for the oil can. It doesn't actually fit all the way on there, but I think it's going to work. It's sealed on there enough, and we're going to use that to fill the transfer case. So you want this ATF 4134. I think it's a different spec for the transmission, or maybe it's cross compatible now. Anyways, just double check your specs. Okay, I definitely got enough in there. So just put the fill plug back in now. There we go. Okay guys, well that's all there is to servicing the differentials and transfer case in your Mercedes ML350. Other Mercedes 4-Matic products will be very similar procedure. Thanks a lot for watching. I do hope you found the video helpful and will consider liking and subscribing. Have yourself an awesome day.